Good evening, Nightwalkers. This is Station Voicecast, and you're tuned into The Midnight Signal. I'm your host, Darren, and for the next few hours, it's just you, me, and the quiet hum of the dark. We've got vinyls lined up, a few late-night callers queued, and maybe, just maybe, a story or two to carry you through the static, at least. That was the plan. About 15 minutes ago, something strange started coming through the signal. A low hum, too deep to be part of the station's usual interference. We thought it was our transmitter acting up again, but the engineers say everything's fine. Still, you might have heard it. Something under the music, like a low moan, or engine grumble. Now, just before the break, I got a text from a listener out in Bay Hollow. They said the sky looked, quote, smudged with red. A haze like iron dust hanging over the horizon. I've pulled up the traffic cams from that area and yeah, there's definitely something there. A smear across the lens, almost like, no, probably just a filter glitch. Another message just came in. Same story, different town. Someone in Raven Pike says the clouds don't look right. Thick, pinkish, unnatural. Folks, I've been doing this show for 13 years. I've seen lightning that lit up 3 counties. I've broadcasted through blackouts, ice storms, even a minor earthquake. But I've never had so many people describe the same strange sky all at once. Still, let's not panic. It's probably some freak weather mixing with regional dust, a bad reflection, a harmless anomaly. Let's take a breath. Let the record spin. Stay with me. We'll be right back. If the signal holds. Okay, something's up. While we were on break, the National Weather Service pushed out a bulletin. It came through our emergency feed, marked Tier 1 Broadcast Priority. It reads, and I quote, avoid outdoor exposure until further notice. Unknown airborne contaminant detected. Shelter in place advised. No location. No explanation. Just that. Yeah. I've seen my share of weather alerts, floods, tornadoes, even that blizzard scare last January. But this feels off. There's no precipitation warning, no storm front, just a sudden red flag across the entire tri-state area. Even our traffic feed has gone dark. All cams frozen, same image, murky skies, and that strange red tint on the lens. I tried calling a friend of mine who works over at Channel 7. She handles meteorological reports on the night shift. Line rang once, then went straight to voicemail. I checked her Twitter. It was active 20 minutes ago. She posted a photo of the sky. Caption, is this what hell looks like? Then nothing since. Here's the kicker. Our local radar still shows nothing. Clear skies, no rain, no wind, and yet people are texting, calling, saying it's starting to smell metallic outside, like pennies. If this is a prank, it's a hell of a coordinated one. But if it's not, something bigger is happening. Let me check the phones. Hang tight, folks. Stay indoors. Keep your windows closed. And whatever you do, don't go outside just yet. We've got a live call coming through. Line 2. Caller ID says it's someone out in Hollow Creek. That's about 40 miles south of here. Mostly farmland. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. Distorted voice. You need to tell people to stay inside. It's not rain. I don't know what it is, but it's not water. Sir, can you tell us what you're seeing? Caller. It just started maybe 10 minutes ago. 1 minute the sky was red, then it started falling. Thick, slow. Like syrup. It's covering everything. You said not water. What do you mean? Caller. It's sticky, dark. The cows. God, the cows started kicking, ramming the fences. One of them collapsed and just lay there twitching. It's like they can feel it before it touches them. Have you touched it yourself? Caller. A little got on my hand when I shut the barn door. It stained my skin, deep red. I scrubbed with bleach and it didn't come off. Smells like copper. And something else. Anything else happening? Caller. The dogs are hiding under the truck. They won't come out. And the birds, they stopped singing. Okay, sir, listen. Lock your doors. Stay inside. Do not touch the rain. We'll try to get someone out to you. Caller. It ain't water, man. It ain't mud. It's something alive. I think it's looking for something. The line just dropped. Okay, that was our first confirmed report of actual rainfall. And it wasn't rain. Listeners, if you're outside, get in now. Something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. I just stepped outside the booth for a second. I don't know why I did it. Maybe habit, maybe denial. But I opened the outer station door and I smelled it. The air, it's wrong. Not just dusty or storm heavy, but sharp. Like rusted nails or old pennies soaked in vinegar. Metallic. It coats the inside of your nose, leaves something on your tongue, and I'm not the only one. We just got 3 voicemails in a row, all from different towns. Same thing. Metallic air, windows streaked red, cars splattered with something that looks like, well, blood. One of the messages was from a school bus driver, voice shaking. He said he was halfway through his afternoon route when birds started falling out of the sky. No warning, just dropping, slamming into the hood, splattering the windshield, wings twitching as if something had burned through them. Mid-flight, his words, like the rain burns them alive. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if this is chemical, biological, or something else entirely. But if birds are reacting like this, if they're falling from the sky in flocks, we're way past coincidence. I've asked our few remaining listeners to check their surroundings, record what they see, what they hear, what they feel, because something is in the air tonight. And whatever it is, it's changing everything. Okay, this is not a drill. Just now, without warning, our signal was hijacked. Full takeover. The screen lit up red, and the studio feed was replaced by a cold, automated voice. Emergency broadcast system override. This is a mandatory alert. Shelter in place. Avoid precipitation. Repeat, shelter in place. Avoid precipitation. That's all it said over and over. No origin, no timestamp, no weather center ID. I've worked at this station for over a decade. I've seen override tests. I've heard real emergency tones, amber alerts, storm warnings. This wasn't any of that. It felt final, like it wasn't just warning us about something outside. It was warning us about what was already here. We're running on backup equipment now. Signal's shaky, but we're still live, for the moment. I'm holding the line as long as I can. But this override, it didn't come from state or local. It came from somewhere else, something higher, and whatever they know, they're not saying it out loud. Stay with me. We're not done yet. We just got a live call. Line 3. I didn't even announce the number. I didn't have to. The voice on the other end was frantic, barely intelligible. It was a woman. She said the rain started coming down harder. Said it wasn't just on the windows anymore. It was on the roof. And not just landing, pressing. It's too heavy, she kept repeating. It's pressing down. Then I heard it. A groaning sound, low and wide, like wood beams under stress. Then a pop. Then water. But it wasn't water. You could hear it. The splash wasn't right. She screamed. Something about it dripping into the walls, into her skin. Then the line went dead. No click, no goodbye, just a silence I couldn't talk over. And for a moment, I forgot to breathe. Whatever this is, it's not just falling. It's seeping, moving, finding a way in. And if it can break through roofs, if it can bend ceilings with its weight, what happens when the whole town is under it? I just pulled the updated emergency map from the federal site. It's not a local event anymore. Last night, this red zone was a dot over Hollow Creek, then Bay Hollow lit up, then Raven Pike, and now it's the entire eastern corridor. We're talking coast to coast, red zones popping up like pinpricks on skin, no pattern, no logic. The meteorological overlays show no wind paths connecting these places, no cold front, no pressure buildup. It's just there, as if someone spilled blood on a map and let it drip wherever it pleased. I've got callers from Alabama, Vermont, even Western Texas. People saying the sky opened above them like a ruptured vein. One trucker said he was driving through Colorado and watched the clouds flash red like a warning light. Then it started raining rust. His words, not mine. Others described the rain as thick, almost gelatinous. Roads are flooding. Not with water, but with this crimson sludge that clings to tires and boots and dogs' paws. It doesn't wash away. People are driving with their wipers on full speed and still can't see a thing. And now we've got reports that the rain is... Wait, I'm reading this right. It's falling upward in some places. A caller from Michigan said the droplets rose from the ground to the sky like they were being pulled back. He said his voice echoed when he screamed. Folks, I don't know what kind of storm we're in, but this isn't weather. This is something else. Something that doesn't care about thermodynamics or logic. It goes where it wants, and it moves like it knows we're watching. And if that map keeps growing, there won't be a place left untouched. I just finished watching the government's latest statement. 4 scientists lined up on a podium like they were waiting for execution. All of them smiling that tight, rehearsed kind of smile. They called the rain an anomalous meteorological event. A highly organic, atmospheric substance, but non-toxic. Their words, not mine. Then one of them held up a glass beaker filled with diluted pink fluid and said, "There's no danger to the public." Except the man's hand was shaking. And when I checked the feed a few minutes later, the press conference was gone. Scrubbed. The link now leads to a 404 error, as if it was never aired. That's when I got an email from a university contact I haven't spoken to in years. She's an atmospheric chemist, worked on classified cloud seeding trials a decade back. She said her colleagues have been ordered not to discuss the rain publicly. Lab samples have been seized, equipment wiped, access revoked, and her final words to me? It doesn't match any known compound. It's rewriting itself. If you're listening and you're a scientist, a doctor, someone who knows what this could be, you need to speak up now. Because whatever they're telling us, it's not the truth. And silence right now is its own kind of violence. The phone lines are full. Every blinking red light is a voice trying to make sense of what's happening to their bodies. We're hearing more than just fear now. A man from Winston called. Said his arms broke out in these boils. He used that word, boils. He popped one, and it wasn't pus. It was black. Like crude oil. Said it burned his sink. Another caller, a nurse from Eastbridge, described skin just peeling off patients like film on old paint. She's worked trauma wards, burn units. She said she's never seen anything like it. And then there was the woman from Oxley. She was sobbing. Could barely get the words out. Her husband sat in their living room, staring at the wall. Started whispering names. Names she didn't know. Names he didn't know. Then he laughed and said, "I think they're inside me now." Another call. This one's short. A teen boy. Voice shaking. Said his brother coughed up blood that smelled like pennies. Not just blood. Foaming. Hissing, like it was boiling from the inside. Then the call cut out. And now I'm starting to feel it too. I thought it was exhaustion at first. Haven't slept in nearly 24 hours. But my hands, they're trembling. I looked down and saw red smudges on the mic. Nosebleed. I didn't even feel it happening. And the smell. That metallic sting in the air. It's stronger now. Inside the station. Inside me. Maybe it's just fear. Maybe I'm imagining it. But if this rain is getting in, if it's in the air, in the water, in us, then it's not just the world changing. It's our bodies. And I don't think they're going back to what they were. I just tried to switch frequencies. I thought maybe I was going crazy. Maybe I'd gotten lost in my own voice. This station, these calls. Maybe someone else out there was holding it together better than I am. So I flipped to the next local frequency, 92.7 KRDN, Our sister station upstate, it was mid-sentence. The host was talking about the rain, then nothing. Dead air. Not even a disconnect tone. Just gone. Like the power cut mid-breath, and no one was there to reboot it. I jumped to a few AM signals. National, syndicated, every single one, static. One looped a choppy jazz track, barely recognizable. Another played muffled voices backward. No call signs, no ads, no timestamps. Even Channel 8, the 24-hour news loop, has been repeating the same headline since this morning. Rain event ongoing, stay indoors, await further instructions. No updates, no anchors. Just that banner. Like the station's been abandoned, but no one hit the off switch. I'm telling you now, listeners, if you're hearing my voice, if you're still out there, we may be all that's left. It's not just the infrastructure that's breaking down. It's the signal, the flow of information, the pulse. It's like the storm isn't just attacking our bodies. It's attacking our voices, our communication. And maybe that's the point. Maybe this thing doesn't want to be talked about. Maybe it's not just raining over us. It's closing in around us, silencing us, one frequency at a time. I've been calling every emergency number I've got saved. CDC, FEMA, NOAA, state and local agencies. Even a direct line to a guy I know who used to handle field response for Homeland Security. Nothing. Every number either loops, drops, or reroutes to an automated message. One just repeated the phrase, due to high call volume, please remain on the line. But the music playing in the background, it wasn't hold music. It was some kind of chant, low, layered, almost ritualistic. I finally reached someone on a landline listed under the emergency broadcast office. The call went through. There was a long silence. Then a voice. Male. Software. Shaking, he said. We're not allowed to talk to you. Then silence. No click, no hang up, just nothing. Like the call had dissolved. And now the rain's here. The windows. God, the windows. They're streaked. Not dripping like normal rain, just long, dragging streaks. Oily. Thick. Like something is pressing down the surface, smearing it across the glass. It doesn't bead or dry. It just sticks. It feels like it's looking in, and whatever's on the other side of that glass. It's not just falling anymore. It's watching. I forgot the landline voicemail existed. No one calls it anymore. It's analog. Buried in the corner of the desk under old promo flyers and broken headphones. But tonight, I checked it. Out of instinct. Out of dread. There was one message. One. Timestamped 12 hours ago. The voice on it was familiar. It was Ben, a fellow late-night broadcaster from WZKX, about 50 miles east. We've had beers, shared playlists, compared horror stories about dead air during storms. But this message wasn't like him. His voice trembled. No jokes, no radio voice. He said, "It's not weather. It's not an anomaly. It's a life form." Then he paused, like he was afraid to keep speaking. Then, they knew. They knew it was coming. They've seen it before. This isn't the first time, but it's the first time it answered. He took a shaky breath, and then there was this sound. Wet, close, like something breathing through gills. Then soft, wet footsteps, like bare feet on a flooded floor. And then the message ended. No goodbye. No static. Just cut. I haven't heard from Ben since. I don't think I will. And if that sound is coming from where I think it's coming from, then we're not alone in this. Not anymore. Signal just came back. For about 20 minutes, everything was dead. Phones, internet, internal comms, nothing but static. But now the lines are open again, and it's like a dam broke. Calls are pouring in, raw, breathless, desperate voices. I'm trying to take as many as I can. Some are barely coherent. Others are whispering, like they're afraid the sound alone might get them noticed. One voice stands out. A woman, a teacher. She's calling from a school about an hour east of here. locked herself and a dozen kids in the music room, says the gym roof caved in under the weight of the rain, and the hallways are flooded, not water. She keeps saying that. She whispers everything. Doesn't want the children to wake up. They're quiet now, she says, but they keep drawing the rain. I ask her what she means. She says the kids won't stop sketching the same image. A black figure standing in a red storm. Every drawing, same shape, same crooked smile, same phrase underneath in jagged crayon. It called us first. She says one of the children keeps repeating the same sentence when she sleeps. We heard it before it fell. I asked her if she'd seen anyone come to help. She laughed. Said the only help they've had was from the school janitor who barricaded the doors before he locked himself in the boiler room and never came out. We're still on the line. I'm keeping her talking. If you're hearing this and you're near Ridgefield Elementary, find them. I don't know how long this connection will hold, but if people are still reaching out, still fighting to stay human, then we're not gone yet, even if something else is already trying to take our place. Another call just came through. A long-haul driver, stranded on an overpass outside Brambleton. He sounds calm at first. Too calm. That tone people get when their brain has decided it's already lost. He says he pulled off when visibility dropped to 0. Couldn't even see the road. Just a red fog creeping up the windshield. Then, through the mist, he sees what's below the bridge. The highway submerged in thick, slow-moving red liquid. He keeps calling it water. Then he corrects himself. Sludge. Then something else. Something thicker. He says he watched as a minivan rolled into it. The headlights vanished first, then the roof. No splashing, no struggle, just swallowed. Then silence. His rig's tires are soft now. Melting, he says, like they're slumping under weight that isn't there. And the metal, he swears it's sweating. Sticky red beads forming along the frame. Then he says the thing I can't shake. He says he saw something move in it. Not drift, not float, swim. He says it swam under the van. He didn't see it fully, just a shape, too long, too smooth, no fins, no eyes. But it left a ripple that bent the guardrails when it passed beneath. He asked if anyone else has seen it. I didn't have an answer, but if something is alive in that flood, then maybe this rain isn't the beginning. Maybe it's the arrival. The next call shook me more than I want to admit. A child, maybe 7, 8 years old. Voice trembling, soft-spoken. She's in a basement somewhere south of the city. Parents haven't come down in hours. She says they're upstairs, but they don't move right anymore. She says her mom opened the back door when the rain first started, just to check the dog. After that, something changed. She started humming at night. Long, droning notes, like lullabies, without words. Her dad followed her around the house, repeating questions with no answers. Then they both stopped talking altogether. Now, she says they just stand by the window staring out into the red. Sometimes they whisper to each other, but she can't make out the words. She says they look different now, like they're thinner, but stretched, like the rain soaked into them and didn't dry. She asked me something before the line dropped. She asked if I remembered her. I told her no, and something about that didn't sit right. She insisted we spoke last week, said I told her to keep her drawing safe, that I'd see her soon. I don't know her. I don't remember her voice. But after I hung up, I felt this pressure behind my eyes, a tightness like a headache just before a storm, and I can't shake this feeling. Like maybe she's right. Like I've spoken to her before, in a place that doesn't exist on any map. Next caller on the line is Tom, retired military Gulf War vet. His voice, it's steady but low, worn thin, like someone who's already survived one end of the world. He says this rain, this air, it reminds him of Kuwait. Not the heat, not the sand, but the smell. Burnt rubber, charred plastic, blood in the wind. He tells me about a black ops mission in 91. Classified. He and 6 others were flown into a zone no map acknowledged. Somewhere between the borderlines, the kinds of coordinates you're not supposed to keep. They were tasked with retrieving something that was never identified. But when they got there, the sky was red, not like a sunset. He says it looked burnt open. He swears he heard something back then. A voice, not outside, but inside, like a memory that hadn't happened yet. When he heard the static on tonight's broadcast, he said it clicked. Said it's the same frequency they heard when they activated the beacon during that mission. A signal that wasn't theirs. A voice whispering through comms they never turned on. He tells me we were warned. That the rain isn't just killing us. It's rewriting us, he says. Slow, quiet, cell by cell. And then he asks me something I can't answer. Are you sure you're still you? The line goes quiet before I can respond. But the question lingers. Thick, heavy, like the rain. We just got a call from inside one of the last hospitals still responding, St. Agnes in Eastbrook. The nurse's name was Maria, 42. Been in emergency care since she was 19. She sounds exhausted. Her voice is dry, cracking on syllables. She says she hasn't slept in 3 days. Not because of the chaos, but because of the patients. They're not just dying, she says. They're changing. She's seen people coughing up dense red clots, not like blood, but gelatinous, pulsating, almost like they're alive. A few patients had to be restrained after developing sudden muscle spasms, eyes rolling back, limbs twitching in rhythm. But the worst part? They're humming, low, tonal, all the same. A melody no one taught them. She played a recording. I could barely make it out, but I recognized the pattern. It matches the background hum we've been hearing in the static here. Exactly. She says the doctors are calling it sympathetic resonance, but she says they're wrong. It's not resonance, she said. It's communication. I asked her what she meant. She said, they're singing to it. Before I could press further, alarms exploded through the line, flatline tones, screams, crashing metal, and then silence. Just the same hum, and I'm still hearing it. I've lowered the gain on the mixer. I thought I was going mad, but it's there, just under the surface, a new layer in the static, a voice faint and slow, repeating the same thing. We're not supposed to remember over and over. A whisper, not from the callers, from somewhere deeper. My nose is bleeding again, bad this time. I didn't even feel it start. I looked at the calendar just now and I don't know what day it is. I don't even remember what I said at the top of the hour. For a moment, I couldn't remember my own name. Just silence in my mind, and the hum, and that voice, whispering like it's always known me. One last call. Man sounds calm. Too calm. Detached. Like he's narrating someone else's life. He says he was digging in his backyard, was trying to build a fire pit. Hit something hard, metallic, unburied it. Not a bomb, not a rock. Something older, smoother. He doesn't describe it. Just calls it the object. He says it whispered when he touched it, just once. But now it won't stop. He says his wife and kids are gone. Says he woke up to find their clothes folded neatly on the floor, the back door wide open, no footprints. He says he doesn't know if he's dreaming or if this is part of whatever the object is. And then he says something that made my chest go cold. I don't think I'm real anymore. Then he hung up. No click, no tone, just the hum. And somewhere beneath it, something laughing. It happened again. Signal override, this time stronger, colder. It hijacked the broadcast mid-song. The board went dark, everything frozen except the feed pumping in from God knows where. No voice, No station ID, just an automated message in perfect mechanical monotone. This is a nationwide directive. Shelter in place. Do not go outside. Avoid precipitation. Stay indoors until further notice. It repeated 3 times. Then it stopped. No follow-up. No source. No timestamp. Just looped fear delivered by a voice that wasn't human, but not quite machine either. Like something pretending to understand authority. And I'm not the only one who heard it. Listeners are calling in, panicked. They're saying military trucks are showing up in their neighborhoods, not emergency responders, not medics, armed units, full hazmat gear, no insignias. One caller said his neighbor was dragged out of his garage while shouting that the rain wasn't real, that it was a cover, said the man was cuffed, blindfolded, and taken without a word. Another described barricades going up at red zone borders, those same invisible lines we still can't track. No explanation, just blockades, searchlights, silence. But here's what chills me most. Some towns are being sealed in, not out. People are being told to stay inside their homes, even if their roofs are leaking, even if their streets are flooding with that thick red runoff. They're not saving us. They're containing us. And when governments start building cages without naming what they're caging, you'd better start asking who the animal really is. A listener sent in a video. No name, no return address, just a private server link and the subject line. You need to see this before they erase it. I watched it. I'm not even sure I should have. Grainy, handheld footage. Probably from a phone, low light. Looks like a suburban intersection, quiet, fogged in that red haze. You hear sirens, then boots, then shouting. A military unit appears, 8 figures in hazmat suits. They're surrounding a group of civilians, men, women, even a kid, huddled under a storefront awning. The civilians look sick, covered in what looks like blood. One of them tries to run, and then the first shot. No warning. Chaos follows. Muzzle flashes, screams, people drop. The video cuts, then resumes. Now it's just the soldiers standing still, weapons lowered, surrounded by silence. One of them looks into the camera for half a second before the clip ends. I aired the audio, described it in detail. 10 minutes later, FEMA posted an official response. The footage circulating online is confirmed to be digitally fabricated. A deepfake created to incite public unrest. But I saw it, and the detail wasn't artificial. It was intentional. You can't fake the fear in that woman's scream. You can't synthesize the way a child tries to wake up a dead parent. They say it's fake, but the kind of silence that followed, that was real. A voice came through the line just now. Blocked number, heavy distortion. But I knew the name. Dr. Alan Richter. Used to work for NOAA. I interviewed him 5 years ago during hurricane season. One of the best in atmospheric modeling. Respected, careful, honest. Tonight, he didn't sound like the man I remembered. He said this event, the rain, the patterns, the silent zones, it was modeled 6 months ago, quietly, behind closed doors. NOAA's black ops forecasting team logged it under a worst-case anomaly drill. The results showed atmospheric destabilization, cellular contamination, psychological drift. Richter said the model predicted exactly what's happening now. But the report? It was classified, buried under something he called Military Protocol Z-3. He doesn't even know what that means, just that it overrides civilian agencies. Full data lockout. When he tried to follow up internally, he was reassigned to hurricane observation. Translation: shut up and stay visible. He asked me if I'd heard the static yet. I told him I had. He said, it's not interference. It's the signal, and it's always been there. We just tuned to it. Then he hung up. No goodbye, no threat. Just a man too scared to say more. So yes, they knew. And they chose silence. And if silence is safer than truth, then whatever this is, it didn't start today, and it won't end clean. I have something in front of me right now that I'm not supposed to have. It came in through a secure drop, no return, no metadata, just a file labeled ENG-982X internal project Enoch. It's stamped classified, redacted in places. But what's visible is more than enough. This wasn't just a weather anomaly. Project Enoch is, or was, a classified U.S. operation under joint military intelligence supervision, designed to test the intersection of biological warfare and atmospheric engineering. In other words, weather as a weapon. The document lists trial sites, names scrubbed, coordinates blurred, but the first test zone is still partially visible. Bay Hollow, same region where the first blood rain was reported. Coincidence? It gets worse. There's a section titled Phase 2, Ceremonial Geomodulation. Phrases like ritual cloud activation, hemorrhagic atmospheric agents, and controlled psychospatial influence fields. These aren't typos, these are their words. One paragraph, intact, unredacted, reads, projected benefit of integrating ancient symbolic frequencies into particulate weather dispersal is hypothesized to yield controllable metaphysical field disruptions, subject to observable phenomena. That's not science. That's invocation. That's weaponized ritual. What the hell were they trying to call down? And why here? The document lists a blackout clause, Zeta lock, triggered in the event of public psychic destabilization. The clause includes federal broadcasting, overrides, and legal authority to detain civilian transmitters during unsanctioned atmospheric disclosures. That includes me. And probably anyone listening to this. We thought the rain came from nowhere. But it didn't. It came from a file folder, from a laboratory, from a ritual, and now it's out here, rewriting us. And if this thing was seeded from our own sky, then the war didn't start with blood. It started with silence. There's a black van parked outside the station. No logo, no lights, just idling. It's been there for 12 minutes now. And just now, the station's landline rang. It doesn't ring anymore, not unless it's internal. I answered. The voice didn't identify itself. Male. Calm. Too calm. He said, "This is your final warning. You are in possession of restricted materials under emergency wartime authority. You have 60 seconds to cease transmission." I asked him who he was. He didn't answer, just repeated, 60 seconds. Then silence. I'm still broadcasting. I'm still here. But now I don't know if I'm speaking to survivors or targets. If you're listening and you hear this, I need you to remember something. I didn't make this up. I didn't invent the files. The people who called in, the footage, the rain, it's real. It's happening. And they don't want us connecting the dots because the truth isn't chaos. It's design. If this feed goes dark, if this voice disappears, it won't be because I gave up. It'll be because they shut me down. But until then, I'm staying on. Something's wrong with the signal. I just heard myself. But it wasn't a playback. It wasn't a delay. It was me, talking in real time. Except I didn't say those words. They came through the headphones like an echo, but out of sync. A voice I know too well, my own, but slower, distant. And it said, "You already called it down." I didn't say that. The static's changed. It's deeper now, layered. I can hear something underneath it, almost like voices trying to sync, whispering over each other. Some repeating past calls. Some aren't anything I've ever aired. Then came the sound. A soft, dull, metallic clank. Somewhere inside the walls. Not the pipes, not the heater. Close. I held my breath. Tried to convince myself it was nothing. The HVAC, the building settling, the storm outside. Then I heard breathing, not mine, right behind me. And the voice, my voice, again. "You remember now, don't you?" I feel cold. Like something's inside me trying to surface. I'm struggling to hold the mic steady. I know this booth. Every wire, every panel. And right now, it doesn't feel like mine anymore. if there's something in here, if something got in through the rain, through the broadcast, through the static, then I was never broadcasting alone. The line's scratchy, but we've got a connection. All the way from Reykjavik. Her name is Dr. Ellen Thorsdottir. She's a virologist, one of the top. Normally works with Arctic pathogen defense. Tonight, she's broadcasting from a sealed lab underground. Power's failing, backup systems running. She tells me she's been studying samples of the rain, and what she's found shouldn't exist. She says the liquid contains human DNA fragments, fully intact strands, some fetal, some malformed. She cross-referenced them with international databases. No matches. Worse, the material is biologically active. It's not a virus in the traditional sense. It doesn't just spread. It mutates, she says, rapidly but not randomly. It responds, learns. The genome seems to rewrite itself as it encounters new hosts. And the host bodies, they don't resist. They adapt like they're being rewritten. She pauses, then says, it's not trying to destroy us. It's trying to overwrite us. She found evidence of cellular reprogramming in lab mice, rapid evolution of tissue, complete organ realignment, not disease, redesign, and something else. She ran an auditory spectrum test on the infected samples. They emitted a low hum, a frequency outside normal hearing range. The hum intensifies in contact with human skin. She says it's not replicating like a virus. It's replicating like a memory. Then she asks if anyone has reported dreams. She says her entire lab has been having the same recurring nightmare, a sky bleeding open, and a single black shape standing in a circle of fire. Every night, same image. And when they woke up, their eyes bled. Her voice breaks before the call ends. The last thing she says, almost whispered, is, "This wasn't a leak. It was an invitation." A new voice on the line now. Father Desmond, Louisiana, old school, fire and brimstone type, the kind that still believes in plagues, in signs, in seals being broken. He's been listening since the blood rain started. Tonight, he says he knows exactly what this is. He says it's the seventh seal. He reads it live. Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. But he says that's just the surface. The true warning was buried, omitted from most modern texts. An apocryphal addendum passed down through oral tradition, a prophecy never canonized. He calls it the crimson baptism before the final silence. He says this rain doesn't just fall on skin, it falls on souls. He believes the water marks those who were already listening before it came. He says the people who change, the ones who hear things, forget names, speak in voices not their own, they aren't infected. They're claimed. I try to steer the call back, ask about theology, metaphor, anything to keep him grounded. But he keeps repeating. It was never about punishment. It was always about remembrance. The rain doesn't bring death. It brings recognition. As he begins to pray aloud, his voice steady, unwavering, the power in the studio flickers. A pulse, then another. The lights dim, the static rises, and under the prayer, I hear something whispering. Not on the line, inside the walls. I started playing back fragments from earlier tonight. Calls, voicemails, archived messages. Something about them felt off. There were gaps in the audio. Not glitches, deliberate silences. Millisecond pockets of absence as if something had been edited after it aired. So I isolated the waveform, boosted the noise floor, and then I heard it. Underneath the voices, layered like dust beneath glass, there were whispers, dozens of them, too faint to notice during the live broadcast, but slowed down, reversed. They form words. One phrase, in particular, repeats over and over. You let it in. Not we. You. I played back the recording from the nurse at Eastbrook, the one where the patients were humming. Oh, when I reversed the final tone, It wasn't music, it was language. And then came the one that broke me. A clip from an early caller. Static laced, short, barely audible, reversed, filtered, clarified, and it's my voice. Not similar, mine. And I'm saying, we were warned, but we broadcast it anyway. I don't remember ever saying those words, but it's my breath, my cadence, my voice, and the timestamp. 2 hours before I went on air. I don't know what this means. I don't know if something's using my voice or if something inside me already knew what was coming. But if these messages were buried in the signal, if they were always there waiting to be heard, then maybe this isn't just a broadcast anymore. Maybe it's a ritual, a call and response. And somewhere out there, something's answering. Just now, an anonymous email landed in our inbox. No subject line, no sender address. Just a single attachment. A scanned manifesto, stamped with the symbol of an old fringe cult I haven't heard about in years. The 13th Path. I've dug into them before, barely anything public. Most assumed they died out in the 90s. A doomsday sect obsessed with lunar alignments, blood rituals, something about mimetic awakening, paranoid stuff. But this manifesto, it's dated 3 months ago. Right before the first rain, it reads, "We gathered beneath the blood moon. We opened the circle. We spoke the original tones. And the sky bled in response." It describes a ritual, part ceremonial, part scientific, conducted during the last lunar eclipse. Not a prayer, an invocation. The opening lines are chilling. It slumbered in our memory until we brought it back into language. It needs us to remember it. We are the signal. I don't know what's worse, that they believe they summoned this, or that it answered. And at the bottom of the final page, one last line, hand-scrawled, "We didn't create it. We remembered it. And now it remembers us." This wasn't an accident. This wasn't nature. It was a return, and we weren't meant to stop it. We were meant to speak it back into being. The calls are shifting again. Less human, more instinctual. People are reporting strange animal behavior. Not aggressive, abandoning. Birds are vanishing en masse. Sky used to be full of them. Now, nothing. Not a single crow or sparrow in hours. Like they know what's coming. A woman in Virginia called in, said her chickens began shrieking. Before the rain reached their property, they battered themselves against the coop walls, drawing blood, until one by one they collapsed. Another caller, Kansas, reported deer bolting through downtown intersections. Herds, not running from anything visible, just running. Then came the call I can't shake. A man from Nebraska sounded shaken, said his horse collapsed in the pasture this morning after staring up at the sky for too long. Not thunder, not lightning, just staring. It started trembling, bleeding from its eyes, died without a sound. He said it looked hypnotized, like it saw something we couldn't. And now everywhere people look, animals are gone, even the insects. I walked outside during a break earlier. Not a single buzz, not a wing, just silence and the thick, heavy scent of metal. If birds flee before a quake, if dogs howl before a storm, what do they do when the sky forgets its shape? What do they sense? When something older than language, Drew wakes up in the clouds. I've been digging through the station's old archives. Boxes no one's touched in decades. Inside one of them, I found a book, untranslated, leather-bound. Smells like mold and dust and something else. It's a 16th century text, handwritten, possibly Portuguese, but full of symbols and Latin incantations. Took a while, but I found a passage that's clear enough to read. It tells of a civilization with no name, located where no compass points true. Their skies bled before the fall. They recorded 3 crimson rains. After the third, their sun never rose again. Here's what chilled me. The passage reads, "The rain came, not as punishment, but as reminder. Those who remembered, vanished. Those who forgot, rebuilt, vanished. Not died, not destroyed, vanished. Like a candle blown out in a sealed room. And the ones who forgot, who let go of what the rain was, lived on. Maybe that's the real warning. Not that the rain is killing us, but that the remembering is what opens the door, that every time we try to understand it, trace it, name it, we become its echo. And maybe this isn't the first time we've said its name aloud. Just before I sign off, another email lands. Subject: this is not Earth's first rain of blood. No text, just an attachment. A black and white photo, dated 1896. A town submerged in red. And in the corner, a man at a microphone, headphones on, broadcasting. And he looks just like me. I tried to keep going, kept telling myself the nosebleeds were nothing, dry air, stress. But now it's not just my nose. I coughed into my hand during the last break, and there it was. Blood. Not much, but enough. I didn't say anything. Didn't want to break the rhythm. You keep broadcasting and maybe the world holds itself together a little longer. But something shifted. There's this whisper, off mic, just outside the cone of sound. I thought it was feedback at first. Maybe the compressor acting up again. But then it moved. I turned, thinking someone had come in without knocking. No one. And then I looked at the booth glass. There's always a reflection. You get used to it. See yourself, the board, the glow of the red live sign. But just for a second, I saw something else. Another shape, standing behind me, not moving. When I looked directly, nothing there. But I felt it. That wrong kind of stillness, when something's in the room with you but hasn't decided to speak yet. Then the text Guarbidique started coming in. Listeners, first just one or two, then a flood of them. Who's the second voice on your feed? Someone's whispering while you talk. There's someone else in the booth. I checked the replay buffer. Listened back to the last 5 minutes. They're right. There's another voice. Soft, breathless, layered just under mine. You wouldn't notice it unless you were listening for it. I boosted the audio. Played it backward, cleaned the signal. It said, "You're not supposed to speak." I don't know what that means, but I do know this. I'm still talking, and something out there doesn't want me to. I needed air, real or imagined. So I stepped into the archive room. Old reel-to-reel tapes, VHS spines fading, stacks of press clippings no one's digitized. That's when I saw it. A rusted tin canister tucked behind a shelf, labeled in flaking pen, WZRP, Blood Rain Broadcast, 1962. There shouldn't be any such file. This station didn't start operating until 1974. I loaded the reel, powered up the player, let it run. At first, just static. Then a voice. My voice. No, not similar. Identical. Same rhythm. Same breath. Same way I say folks when I don't know how to finish a sentence. He's describing the same red clouds, the same metallic air, the same calls from terrified listeners. His words echo mine. Word for word. He says, they told us not to look at it, not to trace its shape, that it only becomes real when remembered. He talks about the second red season, about how the first came and went and we forgot, and that forgetting saved us. He warns, the rain isn't here to cleanse. It's here to remind. He pauses, then, his voice cracking, he adds, if you're hearing this, you're not supposed to be. Then the static swells, high-pitched, grating, like something trying to crawl out of the frequency itself. The tape ends with 5 words, do not remember this time. I stood there waiting for something to make sense, but all I could think was, what if this already happened? What if this broadcast, my broadcast, isn't the first? What if I'm not remembering someone else's words? What if I'm remembering my own? I didn't know what else to do, so I put on a record, old jazz, vinyl, slightly warped, the kind of sound that feels like memory before you even realize you've heard it. There's something safe about it. The trumpet hums like it's trying to breathe life into silence. Notes fall like rain, but warm this time. I said I'd keep this show going as long as I could. So this one's for you, if you're still out there. If you're curled up in a basement, hiding under blankets, watching the sky flicker red through broken windows, I'm here. You're not alone. While the track played, the voicemail system, old as the booth itself, started loading messages. By itself, one after another, a low mechanical click. Then voices layered over the crackle of vinyl and soft trumpet moan. Some are weeping, some are whispering prayers in languages I don't recognize. But one voice cut through everything, over and over. Calm, steady. We're still here. If anyone can hear us, remember us. The same phrase, looped 3 times, buried under other callers. We're still here. If anyone can hear us, remember us. And then silence. No timestamp. No callback number. No ID trace on the feed. Just a voice sent into the dark, hoping someone was listening. I don't know how many people are still tuned in. I don't know if this frequency even reaches beyond the trees now. But I heard that voice. And it felt like it wasn't just speaking for tonight. It was speaking for all of us. So if you're listening now, really listening, burn this sound into your memory. The trumpet rising against static. The voice saying, remember us. The soft scratch of the record spinning. Whatever comes next, whatever this rain is, we were here. And maybe that's enough. There's something wrong with my memory. Not the kind of wrong that comes from exhaustion or trauma. Something deeper, like I'm remembering things that never happened to me. While that jazz record played, I started to see a street I've never walked. Old cobblestone. A lamppost flickering above a bakery with green shutters. The air smelled like lilac and ash. The kind of scent that makes you think of someone you loved. Only I don't know her name, but I remember her voice. The way she'd hum while slicing bread, her fingers stained with ink, the scar on her collarbone. I remember holding her hand the moment she died, and I remember the funeral, my own. I can see the casket, dark walnut with brass handles, the preacher's voice cracking on the final prayer. The ground was soaked with red. No one spoke, except one man at the back who whispered, "Don't forget yourself this time." How can I describe this? These aren't dreams. They don't feel imagined. They feel placed, like someone slid them into me. And when I speak tonight, when I tell you these stories, how much of them are mine? I don't remember learning to drive. I don't remember graduating. I barely remember my own name when I hear it on voicemail playback. So maybe it's not the world that's breaking. Maybe it's us. Piece by piece, being rewritten, not killed, not erased, just overwritten with other versions, other selves, other memories, from other times we didn't survive. Maybe I've broadcasted this before. Maybe I've buried myself before. And maybe this voice you're hearing right now isn't even the first version of me. Maybe I'm not just the one that stuck. But if that's true, if I'm just a borrowed version, then I have only one thing left to give you. This story. And if I disappear when it ends, then please remember me. About 20 minutes ago, something was slipped under the station door. I didn't hear footsteps. No knock, no alert. Just a soft scrape. Like paper brushing against linoleum. It was a courier envelope. Old, torn at the corner. The seal sticky and smeared with something red. Not blood, but something thicker. Almost waxy. There was no sender name, no postage. Just one word written on the outside in thick, childlike handwriting. For the voice. Inside was a drawing. Crayon on yellowed paper, a child's hand. No doubt about it. Messy lines, warped proportions, but unmistakable in its intent. A building marked radio, centered beneath a crimson sky. Scribbled clouds, raining red streaks. The color dragged hard across the page until the paper buckled under the pressure, and standing beside the building, a black figure, tall, thin, smiling. Its smile stretched unnaturally across the face, too wide, too curved. Just black ink, no eyes, just that grin looking up at the sky. Behind it, little stick people, bent arms, open mouths, all staring toward the figure like it was speaking. On the back of the paper, in red crayon, a single sentence, crooked, shaking, almost illegible. Thank you for calling it down. I didn't understand it at first, but now, I think I do. This broadcast. It wasn't resistance. It was a beacon. All the memories, all the words, all the warnings. They weren't keeping it out. They were letting it in. And I've been speaking its name over and over to the whole world. I just looked out the booth window. The rain has slowed. It's not falling in sheets anymore. Just a light, drifting mist. But the silence it leaves behind is worse. There's no thunder, no wind. And yet the trees, they sway. Not gently, not in rhythm. They bend like something is pulling them from underneath. The asphalt on the street is no longer still. It ripples, like water. Like something is moving just beneath the surface, dragging itself across the foundation of the world. The street lamps are blinking red now, in perfect unison. All of them. Across the street, down the block, as far as I can see. No power outage, no surge, just synchronized pulsing. And then the sound started. It's not loud, not even external. It's felt more than heard. A low hum, deep, subterranean, like the earth itself is vibrating at a forgotten frequency. One that reaches under your skin and rearranges your bones. It's the same hum from the static, the same hum from the recordings, the same hum the patients were singing in the ER. Except now, it's everywhere. The rain may have slowed, but something else has begun. Something that was waiting under it. Not to kill, but to reclaim. I don't know how much time I have left on the air. I'm watching the city wake up, but it's wrong. The streets are folding in on themselves, pavement curling like fabric, buildings pulsing like lungs, shapes that shouldn't bend are breathing. People are walking outside now, dozens of them, but they're not right. They're moving in rhythm, same pace, same direction, turning their heads in perfect sync like marionettes dancing on invisible wires. I see a man I know, my old neighbor, Franklin. He waves at me, but his eyes are bleeding, and he's smiling. Just like the figure in the drawing. He mouths something, but I don't hear it through the glass. I think I already know what it is. Thank you. This is still a broadcast. I'm still on the air, and maybe that matters. Maybe this is the last thing I get to give before the hum replaces me. So, if you're hearing this, you still have time to forget. Erase the tapes, smash the radios, burn the words. Forget the rain, forget the red, forget this voice. Because remembering, that's what makes it real. And the moment it's real, it begins again. There's a pause. No voice, no static, just breath. And then faint, so faint it could be imagined. A whisper. You're listening to the radio. During the rain of blood. The mic crackles once. A pulse like a heartbeat, then silence, long, empty. And then nothing. And if you're still tuned in, if you made it to the end of this, then maybe you remember. Or maybe you were never supposed to forget. This whole broadcast, it wasn't a warning. It was a reflection. A mirror turned inward. Because the rain, it didn't come from the sky. It came from us. Every whisper, every frequency, every name we dared speak. And now, we've heard it. So here's the question I'll leave echoing in your ears tonight. What's the one memory you know you never lived, but can't stop remembering? Think about it and ask yourself, who gave it to you? We've all felt it. That soft pull from something older than fear. That flicker of deja vu that smells like wet soil and forgotten names. So if you're still with me, you're not alone, and you never were. Share this broadcast with someone you trust, someone you love, because sometimes surviving isn't about running. It's about remembering together. And if this story left something behind in you, drop it in the comments. Speak it out loud. Because the more we speak, the more we understand what not to say again. And if you want more stories like this, more warnings, more transmissions from the other side of the static, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, stay awake, stay dry. And whatever you do, don't remember too much. This is VoiceCast, signing off, maybe for the last time.